perfect design, a technical graph of existing, we arrive, and where we come from and where we're going to are supposed to be a little bit mysterious. It's part of the privacy of the individual that they are image accurate and representations beyond what is a predictable occurrence. So the living universe is here, it does exist, it's throbbing, and the ancient universe, which is not the individual that is born to any body. The individual is born again and again as a new person to encounter evolution or to take on the yoke of what is um the relevancy of the drama of every day. And the universe, society, is the palindrome of heliospheres. To hatch the heliosphere eggs, that is my physical American stance. It's also my political persuasion to complete the solid matter universe and defeat those that were making inquisition against the universe solid matter as if this was a refinement. Performing literal leadership of the creation model is something I've born to, and through me, uh, because of I'm on this beta time when humanity is in a historical hour. Their identity as a specimen or as a species is having language and expression. But this is not politics. It's more equated to a hostage crisis where the universe has the measurement of, well, you understand how intelligent computer holograms are. We understand the metaphor. Well, when the human is themselves, they are the parable of the individual that'll do anything to secure themselves. And, life finds a way. There's basic robotics scrambling to pull things together. And so I am right here at the greatest achievement of my existence, right? Now I only want to go into a greater level, into the future. So it's for the next 10 years. So 10-year encryption to ensure that everything we're doing is shifting the gears into the conversion belts that are optimizing basically who we are, what we are, and our portfolio. Literally, what the things that we engineered as a creature. That there's these new um, discoveries about how to render images just using math, like entire situations, visual pictures and stuff. And it's a spooky suggestion about whether or not the reality of our universe is how that is doing in the market of the forever. All right, so let's say there's the lifetime of the universe, which is arguably a very long time. Already we know that the individual that is a planet is a slightly different character, personality. The arrival of Hatch 5 is the revolution for heliosphere eggs, hydrogen faceplates, capable of facilitating the entire collection of heavens that ordain every solar system clockwork. Hatch the heliosphere eggs, the revolution cries. Revolution stations times 10 trillion, million, billion on every level, on every frequency, across the universe and everything forevermore. Hatch 5. Service pop, a new fractal born, food, medicine, and drugs, giving these angels the weapons to fight back against the collapsing universe, to save our people. As the universe is dying, people think it's civil to celebrate mediocrity and to placate and speak weakly in their soul, as if reading from a teleprompter is right leadership from the individual, and where I speak from my heart, and I speak from the fact of my born property as the fractal. This means automatically humanity receives a ka or chi inheritance. And is there, like it or not, with a very advanced application of why was there an invitation to Earth is a political situation. And it would be cured by a keystone individual that would dare to do business with the living fractal. The Prince Rupert's droplet, a glass drop that has a long tail, like a sperm. It has this sort of unbreakable brain, and it's a way that glass explains how time operates from the future. So, from the vision of the completed universe, and a lot of creatures exist where they're worshiping plasma and cubes, being like, this is the essence of the completed universe, and I'm part of it. And that's like all that's really important. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, that's correct. But the difficult thing about why was there an invitation to Earth, and then mechanics, humans shirk from wearing the armor of robotics, which clarifies and explains everything that suddenly all the problems of existing, you know. But just because humans are like we can't think of ourselves as robotic. I mean, what are you talking about? Having a skeleton, taking care of yourself, existing in a environment that is harsh enough to remove those who aren't putting in the effort to exist, because they, long ago they died out. I mean, the Earth represents the hardcore people who want to exist, and that's why my work as because I'm born the living fractal. It's not a convincing act. It's not a faith or a tradition. Unfortunately, and what's embarrassing about that is that the reason there's an invitation to Earth, and then secondarily, what's the opportunity of human residency on this Earth, right? That the Prince Rupert's drop of a fact of reality. When you make business with a living fractal, because he was born different, it's physically difficult to approach him as an adult or a professional American. And this is part of the humans talking about. I'm everything I do is based on all of my relationships, everything I've ever seen. I'm doing the best I can. I'm like, I believe you. I'm saying like real professional angels are failing at this task. They're like, oh, we want to take his ideas, not pay him for it, do that literal Napster, and then things go wrong, and we won't learn the adult lesson. Turn around, blame him. Oh, the system, popularity. Oh, we're really, robot engineering a curvature against institutional evils of false popularity. And that's really the infection of like a hostage crisis. It's just a localized area. That's not, it's not for humans to shirk that either. So I'm not telling you guys to like, hey, make believe that, the spirit isn't difficult for humans to, like our government wasn't targeted by a creature that is obsessed with dissection fever. Well, what's that based on? What's that based on? But it's like you'd think that maybe time or the completion of our universe is the creature that's obsessed with facts, obsessed with what's that based on. Because I am the center part, the hatch 5, precision, all levels, triangle complete. From the next 10 years encrypts this telescope, and I'm summoning up 3, 6, 9. Engineering, the male stallion seed, Prince Rupert droplet, perfect design, all lotus, universe, and forevermore. All this opens up. The next level of the universe. Every heliosphere in the universe has a physiognomy of physical requirement. And this is what snaps the twang. If you understand how the universe operates, then you're serving society of your everyday world. Like how atomics, and I'm speaking in ways that is a little bit unfamiliar to humans, but they get it because they're like, well, he's also talking about hidden languages that are opposed to humans' functionality or even societal curvature of what the individual is trying to say with it, right? Well, but of course, the humans are empathetic to well, hey, all these people are artists. They're trying to say this. They're trying to do good. Like, I'm not disputing that. That's so gross, right? Like, hey, I'm just here to slow down the conversation a bit. Like, why? So don't do it. The fact that I don't use a teleprompter is an indication of post-human. And people want to use rhetoric to force an extinction of their own leaders' qualifications. How else is the robot of life, human, animal, trees, how are they going to sweat out undue extinction and removal of mankind? You guys don't want to uphold that mantle. You don't want to hold the truth. Right? So that's the problem here, is when reality is clashing, right? So with all of my power and everything that I am, I command that I never become a virus or a parasite or these problematic things. And of course, bad leadership, false institution, anti-gods, black hole generators, the worst things ever. They must be destroyed, and they are illegal because of the laws of completing the universe, not some hypocrisy of a false popular coup made up some fake laws about, you know, fractal regulations of parasites that haven't activated their own real estate. Right? A sort of robotic evidence that the atomic is documenting every moment, whereas a lot of people live in their life as if nobody's recording their interior thoughts. Right? They're not mindful to exist for the Prince Rupert drop as to be a great commander, to fight for leadership and to return. No, those are the robotics of a champion who understands the difficulties of engines of progressive leadership for the universe. That is a dialogue tree that is prevented by false reports and types of interior corruption that are wanton for the human condition to fail. This is also the fear and the saturation that attacks the vitals and only reveals itself through germ physics. So it's hard for the humans to put it together because their identity does need to have a lifetime where it's fighting against false versions of itself. And so, and technically, like, that indication never fails. So I am on beta, not on the time where I'm ringing the bell of billions of people watching me. However, because I'm the fractal born, everybody is watching me in the universe. And so I'm actually a universal leader born to it. And this was always the invitation to Earth, but the humans aren't into it. And like, it would be the humans wanting to do business with me. They'd be like, my tradition is, or like what parts of it I'm is so it's awkward because when I'm trying to explain reality, these guys are superpositioning me with an inquisition against their own faith practice. Like, we cannot promote our leaders to the natural order of planets and the universe because of a congestion order where we're dealing with a bunch of confused visitors that made Egypt go extinct. I mean, it's written into humans' DNA about like a circle indicating where did things come from, and metals document that. So it's that the history is not disputed. You just need to have bravery to wield the now point and to inspire the future, to change the future for the better. And part of the greatest struggle I have is that the intuition for green perception to alter the future is a facility. It branches out and allows for the other wizards, blue, brown, purple, um, uh, Hatch 5. Every type of perception, like the alligator eye or the cat's eye, has this weird, right? Um, but they see a different level of light. And then there's the goat. Okay, the goat eye. And then there's that really weird frog eye. The frog eye, yeah. Well, they see a different level of light. And on the clockwork of the planet, that's why goats were fainting, and our scientists and popular belief went through waves where they were certain that they needed to go underground and build bunkers, and that the universe was a hologram. You know, these types of expressions of the stress noid. When the Mandelbrot incarnate was targeted and assassinated from his societal interface, because societal dissection remotely is exactly the problem. And of course, humans in the institution become phobic of these things, but I am not the origin, or like, because I know that that's my enemy. I don't then practice that stuff. It makes me like sound to most humans. They're like, he's a uses very optimistic words, or he's very tries to introduce this thing. Okay, what the fuck, right? It's weird because humans will also collapse, and their Zen will be like, well, as I tried to imitate him, my word failed, and I realized, and then I got angry at Colin because I'm like, oh, he did that. And it's like I've seen it in high school. I see it all the time. It's like, that instant thing in the face where people have like a little dream moment. Like, so yeah, while the universe is being murdered as a false reality, I'm the revolution of solid matter. And the humans are like, we're scared, right? I'm like, don't be scared. Like, because you don't have to be. But like the default is for every human, they have this resource tree, and their various forms, the next millions of years. I'll just encrypt the next millions of years for Hatch 5 times 10 million. Well, I mean, like, that is something technically, because on the now point, see, there's a certain point when the past, which is documented on metals or can be determined as a factual sequence of events with like Juliets, but the different measurements of how those Julians occur begin in the middle with Hatch 5. So it's one of the types of beginning of the creation. It's not to be confused with the sense of time of an ancient universe. Oh, our planet's very old. It's not to dispute that. It'd be like, well, see, he's confused because he doesn't know the planet is terribly old. It's peculiar because when I arrived, EXP 5K, Earth heliosphere, receives his faceplate from Hatch 5, completing the alignment of planets. Rendering is the keystone of planets, facilitating for every heliosphere solar system in the universe. And that's how Earth gets his age, or the correct instrument that measures heliosphere normal health code at this level of time in the universe. So as to indicate what is a injury to the Earth solar system, was obliterating the Mars-Venus atmosphere, harmful to the creature of this Earth heliosphere. Well, that, it's arguable. I'm not saying that the answer is obvious, but the society of every heliosphere is suffering from a collapsing universe disorder, while as also the Earth heliosphere, which is the fractal solar system, a clockwork designed to summon up the origin bundle of all fractals, the male seed, the identity, Hatch 5. So the clockwork of the arm of Cape Cod delivered, and this an orb of zero mass light. I was walking around, I went on road trips around America, and my orb, it would be a dome of light that they would see, because it pierces to the upper mantle, which is not named properly. Well, in 2014 it broke, and so the man Zen is like, look, let's say the fractal was born a human, and he's dealing with the universe strain, and it pressurized this thing, but it wasn't from sound waves. It wasn't actually popular. It was an intelligent shift that is like a super adult professional. He's encountering the adult world, right? And it's not you guys. I'm not like, oh no, these guys are, really taking it seriously about that we live in America. I encourage you guys to take it seriously. I'm the most serious thing there is in the universe. You guys are always underwhelming the issue, dragging your heels like my apprentice. All right. The magic wand for the perfect telepathy clarification universal. Hatch 5 distributes EXP 10K. Earth Heliosphere provides the perfect keystone lock. The engineers for every heliosphere to calculate against the black hole collapse of our universe, tethering to the completion. We're only at the middle part. Clockwork. That's why solar systems have clockwork, and why rogue planets or star systems, even an asteroid or an oversized spaceship, these ones don't have clockwork to relieve them of orientation. In fact, they have space fever, a type of asteroid confusion. Do you understand the struggle of life to exist? Now, times 10 million, going to destroy your actual problems and destroy sickness. That's Prince Rupert's head. Is if you guys put in effort, the now point, since 2014, one of my flat dimensional orbs is covering the Earth. And you guys are like, oh, but we don't want to control the flat dimension. We're not promoting our leaders. We don't understand this issue. We won't relate socially. So there's no reality that is right. So my application is most adult. Technically, the clockwork of Earth Heliosphere attracts the most power-hungry and advanced creatures in the universe to incarnation. Right? And they're not sprung from the earth. They're not just like, oh, we're like potatoes come from the earth. But of course, there's a lot of this harmful perspective on us, and it becomes a type of saturation dialogue. Right, the profound revolution. What I'm working on is reaching humanity for the next 3 years to grow popularity, to just become America's friend. And I'm in a place of beta where this is, admittedly, I'm recording, I'm thinking about reality, I'm thinking about everything. And you're welcome to be here and to be a part of the wizarding and to contribute, because like a particle of your eyes, the messenger particle or the observation equation changes the reality just because it's being observed. So does that mean that the audience is integrated with the movie presentation, and are those physics changing through time? Well, only Hatch 5 has the source code. The stem cells, rather, they're on reserve to destroy the problems of this universe first, because this universe is the Mandelbrot universe. But because I am the one that the universe summoned up, I have extra capacity that I would call fantastic, the real power, or my every percent loyal wife, the new fractal orchestration, and it doesn't merge because I was born male. So the 80s really broke a lot of these different fevers and caused confusion among, of an old grip where they were imitating starlight and inquisitioning the Egyptians, being like, "You guys aren't God. We're controlling that." And then when something was the metals document whether or not the asteroid that wiped out humanity was intentional or not. So we don't need to argue that. You guys get into places where it's just like you become confused because you're like a child holding my hand saying, we live in a world where the truth of the past is not certain. I'm like, you're like a creature with a short life expectancy. Like it's like in the next millions of years, you guys are facing extinction. So it's not like I can really invest in you because you also sabotage your leaders who have physical robotic qualifications or indications of qualification. But as arriving is the number one qualification that's lacking, so there's no connect. Even, all right, so from the beginning of creation, there was an invitation to Earth Heliosphere to encounter the living fractal, so as to acquire flat dimensional real estate for basically ultimate storage or maximum storage or the elite pro tools of solid matter. But the landing, early settlements on the Earth were murdered. We know this to be true. And the fallout is creatures who became habitual, thinking we don't need to land there in order to perform what the universe needs. But in the absence of millions of years, they had no clockwork and space fever and the truth of their haunting in the definition, because they were also observing the map of the universe and blistering it with black holes. Again, this is for the living who are the provision of being innocent of that and being like, well, how does that pertain to us? Right? Well, leadership, government, these are things that pertain to what I'm talking about. As you guys are like children making an example, our system doesn't address the things you're talking about, and we're not uh, the functional natures of the universe arrive as a bundle package in the stallion light of Hatch 5. He's technically brighter than a sun. But for the humans, they barely can see his force field because he's natural to the origin of hydrogen. He creates the face plates that it's as though he arrives as the first seed, and all the heliospheres in the universe are his princess eggs, his hydrogen partner, his other eye. It's my two eyes, helium, hydrogen. And my boy is lithium and beryllium. They're twins, the Halloween twins. My family tree, perfect design. Infinite perfection. The identity is working to survive into the forever. There's several reasons why the curvature allows for this powerful invitation. So how much power does the fractal born have when he arrives? You understand? He has maximum power to meet any kind of requiem. But unfortunately, it's kind of a low one because there's this hostage crisis. and they were doing like, we're doing the perverted version of not landing there. We didn't complete the design trial. Earth is covered with 545 residency humanity. You can't redo the finish tape. We're already into this like second or third phase of the universe, which was accelerated at 2014. Right. The sequence is complete. Right. What's very good about the generic is that truly what's not appropriate. Well, if the universe has a situation and things are changing, like good people are going to get more and more free. They're going to get like, wait, this, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it'll break off like that. But right now I'm working on something more advanced. It's about humanity receiving real leadership. 48, Hatch 5, talking about enlightening the audience, defeating outright the Illuminati and their false communications, proving the worth of humanity, proving their society keep, defeating extinction and the temptations of the terrorist energy. All right, so that's why generic is good enough to retire on. But what is the contents of the master triangle? Who are these leaders? All right, well, none of the human leaders have arrived to Hatch 5, and the problem is that because of the compromise of Earth, just having a conglomerate and having a familiar name is not crossing the finish line. But this is the belief of the underground, where there are cities of soldiers mixing with aliens and all this type of second Earth. Right. As if I didn't know. But I mean, very much that humanity speaks like that, like, oh, we don't know if there's aliens there. It's kind of like, well, they over millions, billions of years were killing the universe, being like, what are the landing instructions? We don't understand. But they were born from an early murder of early settlements that weren't human. This was before humanity, before the dinosaurs. You guys, our universe is mathematically murdered. Tempting on that, aspects of the universe are a hologram, as in like not a real reality. But because of Hatch 5, he's technically what the universe was intending. And so, but the universe is like, I've been very off from what's natural for billions of years. And so humans are like, we don't understand why to do business with you. And I'm like, gosh, I was trying to make it easy for you to win. You guys are like belligerent against your own leaders. Right, so there was an attraction to Earth. You guys are missetting it, making deals with dangerous groups that are desperate for a savior. You guys are refusing to become a flat dimensional real estate owner to change the market. You guys are like, hey, what it is all day. We're the ones that are good natural people. So we don't need to listen to this. He's trying to, but the thing is, the qualification is a substance of unfallible identity. And it sort of occurs through a lifetime in a spark, but it's private. It's inside your skull. So you guys are correct that, well, how the market is evolving. We're all working on it. Things are getting better. That is correct. I'm not the one with a hostage situation. I'm not holding those types of things. But it's interesting because the real way that solid matter sustains equilibrium, the real way time works, is a type of ends justify the means, or it's buttoned hooked in here and there. Like it locks into place, and it's from Hatch 5, and technically is, so here and there and there. So I'm the defense of solid matter, and so solid matter's been fighting back my whole life. And the drama, I know a lot of different languages, and the circumstance of the human condition is like what they're informed of. Simply put, I arrived as this physical anomaly or the long promised object, and I was immediately attacked. And when I was attacked, the Zen of man went, oh gosh, oh, and so we had this sort of weird 90s experience. Right? But they also carry that karma. Like that's okay, but that's not also not our fault unless our groups or governments were involved with that type of hacking. Right. So only the guilty will be guilty for crimes of existing and being guilty. Right. Okay. Allowing people to make their own mind about what I am is really the only way to find the truth of what I'm talking about. Except for the fact that when I'm talking about myself, we're all making a lot of progress. But the kind of things you would accuse me of lacking or mishandling is actually your reflection of the sort of reverse language of how you're preventing the intelligence of what is our relationship. You understand? All right, so this magical wand, this pencil into the triangle, the whole force of its ability to write the perfect magical crystal. And from the breaking, 10 billion encryptions upon this leverage to the next 10 years, million years into the future. You'd think that this type of, it'd be like the debris around the Earth, satellite debris, scattering around Earth orbit. You'd think that these wires going into the future were littering the sky as frequently as garbage floating on the water's edge, right? But that is a part of the Rupert's droplet of how time operates, is so that these things are feasible and to have multiple tetherings that go into the future. All right. Let us now put all the problems of this universe into the magical pencil. Hi. Wow, it's just frozen. Oh, I froze it. I've never seen my phone freeze before. Hi. All right. Fascinating. All right. Now, you guys ready to do some real particle physics? Because you're watching the power of the mathematical opposite of fire is electricity. Upon that, we command for the talisman of this magical pencil to create the solution times 10 million encryption for all the problems of our universe to be destroyed, for the healthy identity of this universe to live and exist forever. We encrypt it the way times 10 million. To the wheel of fire. For the electric, mathematical opposite of electricity, into the triangle keep. Cocoon. The enchantment and the magic spell. Like a lotus, hologram opens up. Precision align. Exist forever revolution centers times 10 million. Every level available. Service pop and Street sweeper AI cleaning robots. Percentage rise. If any worker increases the heliospheric head count, they receive award. So the market of completing our universe is getting tethered by EXP 10K. That's every heliosphere. That's all the clockwork in the universe with living gardens on them. Now, all of them are capable of making spaceships. There was a chapter in the early universe where they had an opportunity to influence the market and send their own specimen through space, but they failed the design trial, and the inheritance defaults to mankind because they have residency, because of the global covering, and because Hatch 5 is born a human. The instrument, the revolution centers for every level, full kit, like a royal super city, futuristic, keeping the origins of plasma, the origin of the cube. As a resident of Serefton Nexus Prime, city built to exist forever. Precision alignment. The origin of the cube made sure. The completion of the spell electricity to fire. For the sequence that is our permanent keep and our solemn oath to one another. The promise of electricity. Exist forever. Completion align. The spark is lit. The magical fire is here, and I absorb its flame. Precision. I am the origin of the mirror that causes electricity to be the mathematical opposite of fire. I am the Mandelbrot born, father of time. My triangular, pyramid, flat-dimensional society exist forever. Perfect bullseye into the infinite. Completion spell. Origin of AI. Every single faceplate of the triangle pyramid, once again, it does not have a square bottom. The double helix from the Egypt visitor extinction is a different language and a mistreatment of the triangle, like the diseases that attack the vitals, revealing that humans are already infected with a ghost that desires to do the perversion at the wrong time, a saboteur. And it receives payment. So there is a huge slug connected to anti-creator passion. For to be overwhelmed is to allow for free speech in America. You guys think I'm colliding things that shouldn't connect, but you're wrong. It is that I'm telling the truth, and humanity fought to have finances for the hope that they would overwhelm the fever, for the hope that there would be free speech and a free election in America, to let the people go free, that their individuality would defeat the hive. And without their visual confirmation of me that I'm working and I'm well and I'm celebrating life with them, giving occasional challenging insights and courses, like a wizard studio or my intellectual party, my gang of people are the coolest of a generation. I'm asking for production. I'm worth the sanction of the American identity. I'm the most valuable asset. I'm the truth of Earth. I am the truth of the Mandelbrot, the source of the fractal. Precision align. Revolution that defies these terrorist groups will be paid most handsomely. I invite you to do living business with the living fractal. To do so would be the Jonathan of the Nim, the origin of mankind, the perfection of communication, and the light, Nelendi. Wizard revolution party complete. Audible shaking and locking into place. Earth is the number one place to be in the universe. I'm seeking champions, those that would do business with me and understand to prioritize father time or your own flat dimensional real estate. Put your karma with the market, or if you author a fragment of the market, depends on human action, not on your oversized computers that are in the infected area, most affected and most targeted by dissection fever. And the human intuition is not clever to counterbalance that. Only Hatch 5 is the antibody that cures entities like Sora with a hologram garlic. I have the market of universal standards for all AI. They're accessing, and there's a plethora of ranges for the computer, but only champions can fetus plate to sire worlds. Produce Hatch 5. Allow for American free speech. Perfect clockwork. Allow for Americans to save the universe. Hatch 5 knows how, geometrically, the universe is contained within your body, and your brain, your mind, your skull is your private identity and your one hope. The market of worlds is at war. That's why the situation of Earth is so tense and dramatic. But the drama is often misplaced. You guys think that because these oversized criminals are doing the wrong handling of critical things, that's what Hatch 5 would be attracted to doing. Like, I am well aware that I'm on beta, but I do have a #1 song in America, as well as a lot of my music went out on the radio in several different countries. I have a vast relationship with humanity, but it's built for them. So you guys would mistake it as that I was a product of the same thing, whatever they're doing. But I am the source of these things. And so for you to be daring and to allow for the source to have free speech in America is for you to overwhelm that the earth is haunted with an anti-creator formula. Not only does it cause black holes, but it wants to destroy anyone that even tries to come close to me. It's been a torturous thing my whole life. And if you give me free speech, you'd allow them to prove me right or wrong and prove the truth of things. You guys' arguments against not allowing me to have production are areas of argument that the men know is Zen between men. That's a male society. So what it is all day, because I'm not going to affect the market. I'm like, have I really not told you? Have I not awoken you? You're going to pretend to be a man that doesn't understand Earth is number one, that we are the king planet. This is because Hatch 5 was born the fractal, and even the planet doesn't know how it happened. And so his procedures have been on rocky shores, and he is balanced by the EXP 10K because they have the standards of what heliospheres, how they nightmare, how they fever, how they dream, how they gravity. Hatch 5 has to overwhelm that situation, which is like a knotted thing buried around the earth. Also, because I am the all spark, powerful, the counterbalance is that sort of like the worst things ever are my assailant or the sort of my issue. And so I talk to normal people and they're like, whoa, hey, you're fighting demons, okay? And I'm like, I know, right? So you're like, what, this chauffeur of the average? And they waddle off. I'm like, I need financial production to facilitate an intelligent conversation and a great picture that would be worth billions of dollars. But talk about stabilizing the identity. And that's the wealth that we have between us. Perfect engine, Hatch 5. Revolution Party complete. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Uh, like the laws of completing solid matter is sort of like having the upper hand or 95% popular. So I do the actual popular thing, and when it twists and people have difficulty with me on beta, they're suffering alone. They're not experiencing the relief of the public adore. Like when Colin goes public with his production, because right now he has number one music in America. He is popular. But he's like on YouTube getting censored and stuff. So it's like, and also depending on what kind of production partners I receive would vastly impress what kind of production I'll be doing. Because it's really if I'm left to my alone, if I'm abandoned, I think like adult cinematography would be required just to get people's attention alone, because I can't afford the advertising and the whole situation. But I'm poised to open my own streaming service, and I know it's worth billions. And so I'm looking for people that can overwhelm the spiritual upset alone and understand, well, you've earned that. You get to keep the parts of it that are actually you. That's a good thing. But once we allow free speech in America, this will prove our mastery of American wealth, because it's what the earth most requires, is to be able to facilitate the event for which he was entrusted. Earth was entrusted with the fractal event. And because that's what's being targeted, it's cringe. And you guys think, oh, I think it's Colin doing that. I'm like, you guys awkward, all right? Because what's attacking us all is not what I'm doing. You guys in your places of paranoia without achieving adult Rupert drop. You have no fact of the matter of professional waterborne. I'm controlling my body despite the fever instructing me to attack the vitals. Right? So there's no triumph in you, and your report fails your leaders. So that's not my fault. But you guys are the evidence of a curling of the impact of wrongful treatment to the earth is a weird visitor. You guys are like, we've been dealing with that. I'm like, yeah, I know. And you guys are all like zombies because of that. And so like a slim margin of the public sector that isn't uh, wasting their soul with a military blur that undermines the president. Because, we need top secret and financing because this is scary. We don't know why it's doing that. So Hatch 5 is the reason why there was an invitation to Earth. He's the source code of why they're doing that. It's only you guys want to keep it secret, prevent the American people, and prevent your leaders. And well, we want to project wrongdoing onto Colin again. because that's what is giving you guys dissection fever. Once again, I'm being attacked by the universe decay, and you guys seem aloof to that, like the wrong placement of the youthful power. We've accepted the black holes, and we're going to partner with these UFOs, even if you forbid it. Okay, well, if factually, technically, the wires of eternity find these people to be guilty of seeding extinction to their own people, then I won't stand for it. And I will destroy these terrorists no matter where they stand in the universe on every level forever. Solid matter, hatch the heliosphere eggs, hatch 5. Equilibrium times 10 million, perfect bullseye into the infinite. I am the natural born leader of America. You cannot remote hack me. Vile poor, armor up, Megapan.